Hi everyone, Miss Tui here. Ozobot has a challenge for you to help you practice your multiplication facts. It will randomly choose two numbers, multiply the numbers, and tell you the product. Then you will have to think quickly to record the two factors that make the product before it gives you another product. For today's lesson, you will need an Ozobot fully charged and calibrated. The OzoBlockly editor today will be working in levels 3 and 4, the Name the Factors activity sheet, and a pencil. In today's lesson, you will develop a program in OzoBlockly to instruct your bot to follow a set sequence, randomly choose two numbers, multiply the numbers, and say the products, and recall two factors that make the product your bot tells you. The numbers in a multiplication sentence have a special name. The answer in a multiplication sentence is called the product. Here is the multiplication sentence: 4 times 3 equals 12. In this example, 12 is the product. The numbers that give a product when multiplied together are called factors. In this example, 4 and 3 are factors of 12. A product can have multiple factor pairs. For example, the product of 12 can also be made using the factors 2 and 6, or the factors 1 and 12. 2 times 6 equals 12, and 1 times 12 equals 12. Ozobot is going to give you a product or answer to a multiplication sentence. Your challenge is to think of a factor pair or two numbers that make the product when multiplied together. Let's get started. Before you can complete the challenge of finding a factor pair for the product your bot chooses, you need to program your bot. You will program your bot to spin and change color to signal when it is about to tell you a product. Open up OzoBlockly and go to level 3. Which block category will you use to tell Ozobot to spin? That's right, movement. I will click and drag a spin left block onto my workspace. Which block category will you use to tell Ozobot to change the color of its LED lights? Well done, it's light effects. I will click and drag a set front lights color randomly block onto my workspace and place it as the second instruction in the sequence. Now it's your turn to begin your program. Can you build the sequence of code to program your bot to spin left and change color? Next, you will add to your code to program your bot to multiply two numbers and say a product. Go to level 4. Which block category will you use to tell Ozobot to say something? That's right, sounds. I will click and drag a say number block onto my workspace and place it as the third instruction in the sequence. Since Ozobot is going to choose a digit between 1 through 12 and multiply, you will delete the green number 1 block attached to the say block. I will click and drag the number 1 block to the left of my workspace to delete it. Which block category do you think you will use to tell Ozobot to multiply? Good thinking. You will use the math block category. I will click and drag the blank plus blank block and attach it to the right side of the same number block. Next, you will use the drop-down to change the plus sign to a multiplication sign. Can you add to your sequence of code to program your bot to multiply and say the product? Now you will program your bot to randomly choose the numbers or factors it is going to multiply together. You will go back to the math block category and use the random integer from 1 to 100 block. I will click and drag two random integer from 1 to 100 blocks onto my workspace. Then I will put one random integer block before the multiplication sign and the other random integer block after the multiplication sign. Next, you will change the number 100 on both blocks to 12, since Ozobot will be choosing numbers from 1 to 12. Can you add to your sequence of code to program your bot to choose two factors randomly from 1 to 12? You are doing a great job creating your program. Right now, your program will tell Ozobot to say one product, but since this is a challenge, Ozobot is going to say 16 products. Did somebody say add a loop? Ozobot will need to repeat the sequence to tell you 16 products. Click on loops and find a count-controlled loop. I will click and drag a count-controlled loop and wrap it around my entire sequence of code. Then I will change the count from 10 to 16. Can you add a count-controlled loop around your sequence of code and change the count to 16? Finally, Ozobot will need to give you some time to think about a factor pair that makes the product before it gives you another. Go to level 3. Which block category will you use to tell Ozobot to wait? Well done, it's timing. I will click and drag a wait 1 second block onto my workspace and place it as the final step in the sequence inside of the loop. Now I will change the number of seconds in the wait block so I have enough time to think, but not so much time that it isn't a challenge. I will use the drop down to change the seconds from 1 to 6. Can you add a wait block to your sequence of code and change the seconds to 6? Nice job building your program. You are ready to test it out and learn how to play. Look at your activity sheet. You will place Ozobot on the small circle labeled Bot. Connect your Ozobot by clicking on the bot icon and following the instructions on the screen. Next, you will click Run Program. Your bot will spin left, change color, and say a product. You will record the product your bot tells you on the line that says Product in the first box. Then you will write two factors that make the product to complete the equation. When Ozobot moves on to the next product, you do too. My bot said the product 90. I will use the factor pair 9 times 10. Now my bot chose the product 1. I will use the factor pair 1 times 1. Can you run your program to test that it is working correctly? Your bot should spin left, change color, say a product, and wait 6 seconds before repeating the sequence. Time to play. Click Run Program and record the products your bot tells you, then write the factors. A product can be made using multiple factor pairs, but you only need to write one factor pair. Remember, this is a challenge to help you practice your understanding of multiplication. If you don't think of two factors in time, don't worry. You can go back to solve after your bot stops. Good luck! Check that you have completed the activity. Did you build a code to program your bot to spin, change color, multiply two numbers, and say the product? Does your program have a loop to run the sequence 16 times? Did your bot spin, change color, and multiply two numbers to give you 16 different products? Did you use the products your bot gave you to think of factor pairs? If you're looking for more to do, you can gather data about your bot. Which number did your bot multiply with the most? Did your bot repeat any products? Or you can go back and find all the different factor pairs for the products on your paper. Or you can play again, but this time practice using the same first factor. Change the first random integer block to 2, 2, 2 to practice multiplying by 2s. Then run the program. Repeat to practice multiplying by numbers 3 through 12. Come back again soon for our next lesson.